Hello guys and welcome to Toribash TakeOVer. This is HXCBBQIMO or Hacks, and today we're going to be talking about how to make a move through your improv. I know this kind of sounds like contrary to the whole I'm not going to teach you moves thing, and I'm not. I am going to teach you, however, the process of coming up with moves through your improv. So I'm going to load the move memory script just for an example. And I want you to really understand the difference between knowing moves and openers and me not teaching you it, or rather you not being able to use it. So when should you use an opener? More or less you should use an opener when winning is all that matters. Learning is not important to you at the time. You want to force an outcome. That's the real reason to ever use an opener. Unless you have a lot of fun using an opener. I mean, I really love using the backwards helicopter that Oddlove made. It's just a lot of fun to use. It's really pretty. So we're going to start out with a simple thing here. We're going to play around with our joints a little bit. This is the improv stage. So maybe you're in single player, and you're messing around with your joints, and you see something that you think, boy, that could really turn into something. So you're just improvising around. There's no reason why it needs to last very long. Any game where you're improvising, you should be looking to see, hey, does this look like it could be something? So if I'm improvising and I'm in a wushu game right now and I'm playing around with this, I probably don't like this very much. So that's not really worthy of turning into an opener. It feels like something I could do every turn, or rather, I don't have to memorize it, and just all in all, it's not very unique. But maybe instead I play another game of wushu and I do something like this. Kind of set up, I go down a little bit, and I notice, oh, I'm kind of in a punch maneuver. Alright, cool. So because I'm playing a game of multiplayer at the time, let's just say, I can say, oh, well, I'm not going to be able to make the best move out of this right now because it's improv and I don't have 100,000 reaction time. I only have 20. I'm going to also turn on the speedometer so you can see what's going on. What I'll do is I'll save this replay and I'll take note of how fast this was. This was 37.08. So I saved the replay as I improv wushu punch. Okay, I'll finish the replay. Once I'm done actually fighting the player, I'll load up the III. Typically I save things as potential when I'm trying to save an opener. And I'll pause it, and I use Shift P to go frame by frame at the 950 mark. And I'll try, because now that I have all the time in the world, now that it's single player, I can really do all of the editing I want to see if I can get some better opener out. It doesn't necessarily have to be faster. For instance, this one was a little bit slower, but I have this whole leg thing going with me now, so I have a better second turn because of this edit. When I'm comfortable with the changes that I've made, I can go over again, and I'm hitting E, by the way, to edit. I'm still thinking, this is not exactly what I want, so maybe I'll try something else. Let's try like a Superman dive. No, that's not going to work. Let's try holding all. Why not try a hold all? I can completely change what this maneuver is going to become and make 3 openers out of the first opener. In fact, I could even edit the first turn if I think it'd be beneficial to do so. So I keep playing around with it. I'm comfortable with one of them, and then I'll save that with the X save potential 2. And I'll save the first turn as potential 1, and then it's loaded up here. I'm not going to keep that because, you know, it's not very good of an opener. But basically what you're looking for when you're improvising is play games of wushu, play games of aikido, play games of tachyon, and when you see that you've done something that was neat, that you think if I had 45 more frame, or if I had 45 more reaction time, maybe I could have made something cool out of it. Save it. You know, this right here is something I could see myself doing in improv, because this is improv. This is not planned what I'm doing right now. And I can just tell right now that this is something that with enough time could be a really good move, because it's got the uppercut, I was never vulnerable, I've got lots of turns to work with it. So I make this a single player thing, and I keep doing it until I'm comfortable with what I've done. And the only thing you really have to do differently when you're making a replay, or excuse me, making an opener rather than anything else, is just consider the mod. When you're playing Wushu and you're improving, yes, you can make moves that go like 45 speed, but if if the attack doesn't hit until like way up here, never in a million years is on the second or third turn your opponent going to be way up in the skies. So you shouldn't be making a move that does that, that attacks there. And so additionally, if you set the mod to like Aikido, you shouldn't make an opener like this, where you're just completely, you're in a weird position where both of your feet up are in the air. If you know for a fact that if the other player was actually grabbing you, he would be lifting you out of the dojo, get a foot grab, get a hip grab. So you have to understand the limitations of your move, and you have to really keep in mind, what would my opponent be doing competitively and when he saw this, and would that affect my opener? If so, how? In what ways? Because as you can see right now, Yuke just being Yuke, I'm losing. This is not an optimal opener. So while that might be a great opener for Wushu, it's definitely not for Aikido. So definitely understand the limitations of the mod, understand how you're interacting with your environment, and when you do that, you should have a good opener. And the last thing I want you to consider is, does the opener work as both Tori and Uke? Uke and Tori are not the same. So here's a prime example. I'm going to use the opener I love using, the backwards helicopter. Now you already notice that Uke moved faster in the first turn than HXC BBQ IMO did, which means they're not doing the same thing. So I'm going to edit them both, and sure enough, there's still a complete discrepancy on speeds. They're still ending in different areas. They're not mirrored at all. And that's a takeaway message for you guys, is that things are not mirrored as equals as Uke and Tori. And watch what happens when one does this as a Uke instead of Tori. They did the same move. The difference was Tori survived and Uke DQ'd. He disqualified. They were the same exact move. I did nothing differently, but Uke disqualifies. That's something that's very common, especially with punch openers. So test it. If you really want to test how an opener works, load up an opener against another opener. Save an opener and use it against it. So for instance, here's the punch that Nike Leos once made, and it's a really, really fast Wushu punch. What I'll do is I'll use it against an opener that I'm working on right now. If Nike Leos comes in with this punch, it is fast, it's powerful, it hurts a lot. Where is it? There it is. So I have to understand, if I was trying to fight him, what would I do with this opener to make me not get crushed? And that teaches me how I can adapt with my move. And that's the basic things and principles that I want to go over in terms of improv. I mean, there will be a whole new video specifically on improv when we get there. I can easily talk a little bit about what makes good improv and all of that. You can obviously see that that punch is fast as mess. I mean, it's faster when it's performed by one player versus the other. But yeah, we'll go into specifically how to improv in another video. I just wanted to be very clear about how do I go about making openers. It's really simple. Unless I have one very clear goal in mind, like I want to make a punch that's really, really fast or something along those lines, then I will definitely play improv and once I see something I like, I'll save the file. I work with MoveSaver. I'll keep on editing, and that's basically how you make an opener. And if you want to see the differences between Nuke and Tori, you definitely should do that. I mean, you just saw identical punch openers being used, and one of them resulted in an arm being ripped off and dismembered, and 10,000 points difference. My pec was fractured, his pec was removed. There's just gigantic differences in what happens, especially in speed. So Nuke and Tori are not equal, guys. They're not. You really need to consider that whenever you make any opener. If there's adjustments you need to be making so that it works, if only just slightly worse with one character instead of another, just so that you don't disqualify, it's really important that you understand that. Finally, before you guys go, I want to discuss the Toribash TakeOVer Giveaway number 2. A lot of people have expressed a lot of interest in Toribash TakeOVer Giveaway number 2. The prize, if you did not hear, was 100,000 TC, no QI Demon Force, Shaman Relax, and Sapphire Relax. This is a very, very, very big prize, guys. It's probably the biggest prize you're going to get in terms of giveaways for a while. How it works is very clear in the last video, but I'm going to make it clear again. Recruit people to Toribash. Make sure they subscribe to Toribash TakeOVer. Make sure you're not just making alt accounts on YouTube or on Toribash, because I can check that. I have those administrative powers. And finally, when they've done so, make sure they post in the thread that I have linked in the description down below. If they don't, I can't give you credit. What should they post? If they just read the original post, they'll know exactly what to post. The person who gets the most referrals in a month will get that grand prize that we've been talking about. And since Toribash is moving to Steam, it's just a great time to be doing all of this, especially with Toribash 4.6 being worked on right now. And all I can tell you guys is that 4.6 is going to be amazing. I am legitimately very excited for 4.6, and I haven't downloaded the new Toribashes in a while because of how unexcited I was about some changes. So, if you're excited for 4.6, start recruiting players. If you want to be a big help for Toribash TakeOVer, start recruiting players. If you don't necessarily have new players in mind, go anywhere on the internet. I mean, you don't have to go specifically to your best friend in order to get referrals. I certainly didn't do that in order to get the base amount of subscribers that I have for Toribash TakeOVer. I've gone to random forums. I literally went to bodybuilding forums. It's just, you know, however you can get it, get it. I think right now Holy Butler 153 is in the lead with the amount of people he's recruited, but it's not a massive number. Literally anyone could overtake him in a day of hard work. So thank